Hello students, let us continue chapter 14 Natural Resources. Today we are going to discuss water, importance of water, water pollution, minerals, soil and factors responsible for the formation of soil. So let us start with water. Water occupies a very large area of the earth's surface and is also found underground. Some amount of water exists in the form of water vapor in the atmosphere. Most of the water on earth's surface is found in seas and oceans, which is salty. Fresh water is found frozen in the ice caps at two poles, North Pole and South Pole, and on snow covered mountains. The underground water and the water in rivers, lakes, and ponds is also fresh. However, the availability of fresh water varies from place to place. Actually, every summer, most places have to face a shortage of water. But why is water so necessary? Why do all organisms require water? What happens? Actually, all cellular processes take place in a water medium. All the reactions that are considered within our body and within the cells occur between substances that are only dissolved in water. Along with that, substances are also transported from one part of the body to other part only with the help of water. Hence, organisms need to maintain the level of water within their bodies in order to stay alive. Some life forms require fresh water for this because their bodies cannot tolerate high amounts of dissolved salts in saline water. Thus, the water sources need to be easily accessible for animals and plants to survive on land. Next, water pollution. Water dissolves the fertilizers and pesticides that we use on our farms. So, some percentage of these substances are washed into the water bodies. Along with that, sewage from our towns and cities and the waste from factories are also dumped into rivers and lakes. Specific industries also use water for cooling in various operations and later return these hot water to water bodies. Another manner in which the temperature of the water in rivers can be affected is when water is released from dams. The water inside the deep reservoir would be definitely colder than the water at the surface, which gets heated by the sunlight. All these can affect the life forms that are found in these water bodies in various ways. It increases the growth of some unwanted life forms that are harmful for aquatic creatures. Also, this affects the balance between various organisms which had been established in that system. So, we can conclude that there are following effects of water pollution. The first one is the addition of undesirable substances. could be it could be fertilizers or pesticides used in farming, and also they could be poisonous substances like mercury salt which are used by paper industries. This could also be disease causing organisms like bacteria which causes cholera. Then next one is the removal of desirable substances from water bodies. Dissolved oxygen is used by animals and plants that live in water. Any change that reduces the amount of these dissolved oxygen would definitely affect these aquatic organisms. Other nutrients could also be depleted for the same reason from these water bodies. The next one is a change in temperature. Aquatic organisms are used to certain range of temperature in the water body where they live, and a sudden marked change in these temperature would be dangerous for them or affect their breeding. The eggs and larvae of various animals required some particular temperature for surviving. Minerals rich in The soil. Soil is an important resource that decides the diversity of life in an area. But what is the soil and how is it formed? Let us discuss. The outermost layer of our earth is called the crust, and the minerals found in these layers supply a variety of nutrients to all life creatures. But these minerals will not be available to the organisms if minerals are bound up in a huge rocks. So over a long period of time, thousands and millions of years, the rocks at or near the surface of the earth are broken down, and by various physical, chemical and some biological processes, the final product, the end product of these breaking down is our soil. Now, factors responsible for formation of soil. First point, the sun. The sun heats up rocks during the day so that they expand. At night, these rocks cool down and contract. Since all parts of the rock do not expand and contract at the same rate, this results in the formation of cracks, and ultimately huge rocks break up into smaller pieces. Second point, water. There are two ways in which water is responsible for formation of soil. First, water enters the cracks in the rocks and it may freeze later, resulting into widening the cracks, bigger cracks. Second, when water flows on hard rock cover for a long period of time, they may wither away. Particles of rock can flow down with the help of fast flowing water. During their flow, there is abrasion, or we can say friction, between different rock pieces, which results into formation of soil. Flowing water deposits this soil in its path, which may be far away from the parent rock. Now, next, wind. Strong winds erode rocks. They break down the rocks. Sand too is carried from one place to another by winds. And the last is living organisms. Living organisms also influence the formation of soil. The lichen also grows on the surface of rocks. While growing, they release certain substances that cause the rock surface to powder down and form a thin layer of soil. Other small plants like moss are able to grow on the surface now, and they cause the rock to break up further. So, we can say that soil is a mixture. It contains small particles of rock of different sizes. It also contains bits of decayed living organisms, which is called humus. Soil also contains various forms of microscopic life. The type of soil is decided by the average size of particles found in it, and the quality of soil is decided by the amount of humus and the microscopic organisms found in it. Humus is a major factor in deciding the soil structure because it causes the soil to become more porous and allows water and air to penetrate deep underground. The mineral nutrients that are found in a particular soil depends on its parent rock, type of its parent rock. The nutrient content of a soil, the amount of humus present in it, and the depth of the soil are some of the factors that decide which plants will survive in a particular soil. Thus, the topmost layer of the soil that contains humus and some living microscopic organisms in addition to the soil particles is called topsoil. The quality of the topsoil is an important factor that decides biodiversity in that particular area. Modern farming practices involve the use of large amounts of fertilizers and pesticides, but use of these substances over long periods of time can destroy the soil structure. How? By killing the soil microorganisms, because these microorganisms recycle nutrients in the soil. It also kills the earthworms, which are very helpful in making rich humus. We know that earthworms are friends of farmers, that's why. So, fertile soil can quickly be turned barren if sustainable practices are not followed. Ultimately, we can say removal of useful components from the soil and addition of other substances which adversely affect the fertility of the soil, negatively affect the fertility of the soil, and kill the diversity of organisms that live in it is known as soil pollution. As we know that the soil that we see today in one place has been created over a long period of time. As we know that wind, water, living organisms are some soil forming factors, but these are soil removing factors too. The fine particles of soil may be carried away by flowing water or wind. If all the soil gets washed away and the rocks are exposed, we have lost a valuable resource because very little will grow on the rock. Thank you, students. I hope you understood all these topics in the chapter 40.